Hello and welcome back to the Great Lakes Truck Series brought to you by Patty Engineering. And here we are, Bristol Dirt for the Briars Dirty Darty 150. Should be a lot of fun. I'm here with Alex today. How you doing today, Alex?
Well, we're doing all right. Gotta wait for Elliott to come in and probably be forced out of the booth in a minute here. But hey, we're here right now.
That's why we have the extra security outside. Should be a lot of fun here in Bristol. They're just finishing up qualifying. We're gonna do some heat racing here, as per the usual for dirt racing. We'll have 4 heats here to decide the starting lineup here at Bristol. So I'm gonna try to get the lineup for heat number 1. Looks like we're gonna have Ashton Lawson on the pole for heat number 1, and Frederick Cremines on his outside.
Ashton Lawson with a good lap in qualifying, taking over our practice leader Trent Curtis, as well as Sean Hayes, who qualified in second. So for this heat, we're gonna be seeing Ashton Frederick front row, Hunter Justin second row, Michael and Ross the third row, and Nick Hayes and James Shiflett follow them behind Hunter and follow them out to this heat. Can't wait for this. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, 9 cars in heat number 1. I'm definitely looking at the practice times. Trent Curtis had to seem like he had a lot of speed. Sean Hayes, Ashton Lawson, amongst others. But here it's race time. I feel like it really just depends on how your race speed is. Here on the dirt, it's a lot different. It's a lot harder to race around other cars than it is by yourself. So we're going to see how Ashton Lawson does against Frederick Cremines. Hunter Madalinas, last week's winner at Homestead, 2-time winner on the season. Flag. I think we're going to get it this time by? No? Can't tell. The lights are out of the pace car. The pace truck, I mean. This time by, pace truck is going to pull off. Ashton Lawson, number 24, going to lead them down to the green flag. Here they come. Pull off for heat number 1. It will be 8 laps, by the way. I did not mention that. It will be 8 laps. We'll decide the starting lineup. And here they go. Pace truck's off. And Ashton Lawson pulls them to the green flag.
Two-time truck winner, Hunter Madalinas follows Frederick Cremines to the outside here.
Elliott Henderson has joined us here in the booth.
We are back in action, watching some dirt stuff here tonight, and yeah, Ashton's off to a good start. Frederick and Hunter are second, but impressive to see these guys that are running so well on the asphalt side jump over here and immediately adapt to the dirt. It's not the easiest thing to do, but to see Ashton and Hunter immediately show up, as well as Frederick, and put their flag in the dirt, so to say. And say that they're going to come here and show up. It's quite impressive. It's a pretty stacked field compared to who we usually run, so to see them running
Yeah, I'm really watching Hunter. Hunter, like I said last week, I really known him as a road course ringer, but he's proven that he can get the job done on the ovals. And I asked him last week if he can get the job done here on the Bristol dirt, and he's looking really strong here in his heat race right now. Right behind Ashton Lawson, who's been one of the quickest drivers so far in this session.
Yeah, I've been told the outside line's not going to come in. You already see a little bit of Sensi and Brockman trying it out. Hunter's starting to move up there a little bit. They're right on that edge of where, like, I guess it's the build-up and what we would refer to as the marbles. But a lot of that just loose dirt sitting up there at the top as Justin Mons is starting to dig into it as well. So they're starting to get his outside line working. I think these guys towards the back realize, hey, I'm not gaining anything. I might as well start to work in this outside line so that's not a bottom feeder track all night. But we've heard that this feature is going to mainly be a lot of inside line racing, similar to what we saw in real life. So It'll be interesting to see how that works itself out as Ashton looks to have gapped Hunter a little bit here.
Yeah, Austin Lawson's been putting down some great laps with the number 24 truck. He was really quick in practice. He's been quick all season, looking to get the job done and get the victory here today, and looking to win his heat race and start up front as he approaches the white flag here in heat number 1. Ashton Lawson in the number 24. Madalinas not too far behind him in the number 9. If Lawson slips up, Hunter's going to be right there. Here comes Lawson through 3 and 4. Hunter's right behind him, but he's not going to get there. Ashton Lawson wins heat number 1 with Madalinas coming in second. Cremines third. Sensi, Mons.
Yeah, we can already see it starting to slick up now that this is over. You see Frederick getting a little bit more practice here. He's going to spin out between Ashton and Hunter, but we can already see that the lanes are starting to slick up on corner entry. That's from those rear tires starting to slide a little bit more and them trying to carry a lot of speed through the corner. So we'll see how that works out. If that bottom line does slick up, I think that'll force them up the top of the track, but a lot of guys are saying that that basically the middle of the corner doesn't really slick up. It's really just the entry, and the entry doesn't matter a whole lot as long as you can get down to the bottom. So it'll probably just mess up how they're going to get into the corner, but we'll see how this next heat goes.
This should be a lot of fun. The track's a little different now. You're going to see it change throughout the night. Good point in the chat I'm seeing. If you jump that cushion, you're going to go straight into the wall. Not really yet. That cushion has to build up more. This should be a lot of fun. A lot of laps on this racetrack tonight.
Heavy hitters in this heat right here. You've got Sean Hayes, who we haven't talked much about at all this season, but I feel he's pretty solid on dirt, thus him being first in this heat. Shane Neiswanger, Brandon Barkuski, and Jake Miller all right there. 3 very big names. Eric Kepf, another huge name in this series. We'll see how they do, making up those first 5 spots in this heat.
I'm excited to watch Jake Miller. I've heard he's pretty good here on the dirt. And Shaden Neiswanger, I heard, was putting down some pretty good laps in a practice race, actually, here on Bristol dirt around a week ago. So I'm interested to see how he does. And then Sean Hayes is really good on anything you put him on, I've noticed.
Yeah, we also can't discount old Aaron Duclos back there. Showed up real strong at Homestead. Maybe had what I'd say was the 2nd or 3rd best truck. Unfortunately, didn't end up getting the finish that I think he wanted, like most of the guys that ran up front that night. But he's starting back here in this heat, so we'll see what he can do as well.
Looks like we're going to get the green flag right here. Sean Hayes is going to lead them down. Green flag is out, and Shane Neiswanger almost spins it off the start. Great save. Jake Miller passed him on the inside. I'm not sure if that's going to be a black flag for the number 4. And Sean Hayes has a huge lead in this 8-lap shootout, heat number 2. Jake Miller currently in the 2nd spot. Shane Neiswanger in 3rd. Brandon Barkuski in 4th, and Eric Kepf, Mr. Pink, in 5th.
Yeah, Jake was clear to the black flag. Shane really spun tires. Shane in the outside wall now. It looked like Jake really overshot the corner there when he jumped in too and cleared Brandon at the same time. That was a really interesting first lap, and now these guys are all still trying to sort it out this late in it. Shane's trying to keep that 3rd spot over Brandon, and these guys are really trying to work in that outside lane unlike the previous heat, so we'll see how that works for him. Brandon slides a lot into turn 3 there on the bottom, and Eric will get him on the outside. These guys really trying to work in that outside, but also the bottom. Like I have not seen trucks this sideways like these guys are doing in a while here, so we'll see if they can keep it all together. Meanwhile, Sean Hayes is he's checked out. He's completely gone at this point, running about 2/10 quicker than anybody else on track now.
Yeah, Sean Hayes has about a whole straightaway on 2nd place. 2nd through 5th is really driving their heart out, trying to get as many spots as they can to have a good starting spot in the main event. Yeah, Duclos and Watler somewhat back here struggling a little bit, running 7th and 8th.
Matt Daniels has dropped back to ninth. I believe it was Lewis had started last in this heat and is actually driven up to sixth. So positive for him. That'll give him a better starting spot in this race after a poor qualifying effort. But he may get more with these guys running this hard. Brandon is still on the attack of, at Eric, and a lot of these guys are running so sideways that I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see a self-spin by the end of this one. Brandon really sideways again there. You can see him trying to throw it into that corner. He gains a lot on exit doing that, though. It's pretty interesting watching these guys run their different lines. As Eric hits the wall on entry, might give Brandon a little bit of an opening here.
Barkuski was so sideways right there. He was looking at his hauler on the infield of the track right there. I don't know how he had it that sideways. We've been seeing that all night already here in heat number 1 and 2. Guys really pushing it here in the heats, really testing to see what they can do for the main event. And Sean Hayes will come out on top for heat number 2.
It's the best time to look at it because you might as well go as hard as possible. If you self-spin, all you're going to do is lose some spots for the race. I feel like this race will go back and forth between, between positions here, but we'll see how the rest of these heats go. It looks like everyone's just trying to be cordial enough to get through them, and that was again a pretty clean one aside from the start.
A very good heat number 2 from Hayes. Excited to see what he can do in the main event. We're about to get started with heat number 3. Looks like on top we have Trent Curtis. Trent Curtis showed a lot of speed in practice. And then Briar Fritz in second. Got a lot of good drivers in this heat. Trent Curtis, Briar Fritz, Jordan Gonzalez, Matthew Durr, Steve McLean, Justin Benda in here. We have a lot of good drivers in this heat. This should be a good one. These trucks about to pull off. We're gonna run 2 pace laps and go green flag for 8 more laps here in heat number 3.
Yeah, I think Trent's still a little frustrated with, it looks like Curtis Granger's starting from pits here. I'm not sure if he maybe had an issue, but he'll start this one from pits, which will ultimately put him last on the boards and give him a pretty sour starting spot for this one. But I know Trent is probably a little frustrated still about that contact that happened to him back at IRP. I believe it was him and Nanny that made contact, and he's still bound to get back in the saddle and try to polish one of these races off and get himself a win. He's had a fast truck at a lot of these tracks and just hasn't really had the finishes that I think he wanted. But starting on pole here for this heat and should give him a decent starting spot if he manages to go ahead and get it done.
Get the green flag here in a moment. Get some good points, Elliott. I'm really excited for these 8 laps here. While we're waiting for the green flag, I would like to mention that the cameras today are brought to you by Track Cams for Gourmets. That is Track Cams for Gourmets, trackcams22.com.
Brian urging Trent Curtis to try to get up towards the pace car a little bit more. I'm not sure if they're going to be watching that for the actual event, but everybody's been laying back, it seems, since besides that first heat at least. So trying to lead him down. He gets a solid jump. Briar actually gets a really good jump on the outside. He may be able to clear him into 1 here.
Great move from Briar Fritz, but he's almost going to get the wall. He really had to slow down right there. He lost that potential to take the lead right there, and he's going to sit in second for now in the number 77 machine.
Looked incredibly similar to what Jake Miller just did in the last heat. Just drove it in really hard, trying to clear Trent and get it all the way through the corner, and truck just went straight on him, but he was able to work it out. Steve McLean does the same thing there on lap 2 going into turn 1, and he almost catches the outside wall, but keeps it off Vic and keeps it going in 3rd place.
Top 4 have pretty good gaps amongst them, but then you have Jordan Gonzalez and Brandon battling it out for the 5th spot.
Brendan Nefel making a return. I believe he was here at Homestead. Missed, I think it was IRP or one of the other races, but he is back in action tonight, trying to chase down Jordan Gonzalez for that fifth spot. Sorry, Matthew Durst sitting there in fourth. Matt has been a very quiet guy this season, but I'll tell you what, he comes with a good bit of talent. He's very, I believe he's probably similar to someone like a Matt Kenseth. You don't really know that he's there, and then all of a sudden he's kind of there. So we'll have to see how his season really transpires here, but so far showing up on dirt, sitting fourth in his heat right now.
Matthew Durr has shown a lot of speed this season, but just hasn't had the luck, hasn't had the finishes to show for it. Maybe he can change up his luck here tonight on the dirt. Looking to get past McLean, trying to find some space in the number 41 machine. Looking high, looking low. He really drove it in there, and Steve gets sideways. Great save from the 37. But the number 41 is going to get right by and take the third spot away.
Matthew Durr will say thank you. Easiest pass I'll make tonight. As now he looks to maybe catch Breyer, who's been trying to run that bottom. And I'm telling you, I don't know if that bottom's going to last as well as these guys have been talking about it, because everybody that keeps trying to charge it in there gets really, really sideways by the middle of the corner. So we'll see if they can actually hang on. It looks like everybody's already starting to migrate up a little bit. We may actually have an outside line form in. If we can at least get multiple lanes here, it'll be really fun to see what guys can do and if they can actually really make passes, because if you just get a bottom feeding show, we may just end up getting a lot of wrecks and a lot of people run over as they enter this last lap here.
Yeah, definitely a lot of craziness on the dirt. Any stock car experience has been that way, as Trent Curtis is on the final lap here in heat number 3. Trent Curtis in the number 51 machine, looking to get the job done as he takes the checkered flag and wins heat number 3. Fritz in second.
Yep, very solid P2. Matthew Durr third, Steve McLean fourth. And actually a really good battle between Jordan Gonzalez and Brandon Nefel for that fourth spot, I believe, or fifth spot. And they ended up crossing the line together, and it was went to Jordan Gonzalez.
And drag race there for 5th. Those two were going at it the whole heat. So that was definitely exciting to watch as we're about to start the final heat before we go into the 100-lap feature. Heat number 4.
We got old Mr. Excitement. William Barbagelata, teammate to him, is on the pole. Thanks, Gavin Fitzgerald, part of Spectrum Racing. Josh Cottle, affiliate teammate, also in this event. Daniel Nanny, Cup Series champion, sitting back there, going to start in 5th. And then you've got Christopher Huerta, you've got Hunter Brittle, Mark Benda, Anderson Bowen, and Adolfo Delgado to round out this field for this heat.
Some of the most exciting drivers to watch in the series right here. Some of the most aggressive guys. So this should be a lot of fun. I feel like this is going to be the most exciting heat yet, this 4th and final heat.
Gavin trying to test what gear he wants to be in. Let's see how that works for him on this start. Yeah, I think you're going to see a good bit of aggression tonight. I'm not sure how they're doing cautions. I've heard a couple different things, but I've not got confirmation as to whether they will be throwing a caution for every incident or if it's admin only and they're going to throw it for multi-car wrecks. So we'll have to see how that pans out for the race. But I think everybody's got enough of an understanding from these heats. I think it puts enough, you know, I'll just say it again, understanding from the drivers to really go into this race with a little bit more clarity on what they're capable of really doing. So I think these heats have been really beneficial. We'll see how this last one goes. Again, heat 4 of 4 before we get started in our 100-lap dash feature here at Bristol Dirt.
Gavin Fitzgerald about to lead him down to the green flag. Josh Cottle on his outside. William Barbagelata right behind him. Mr. Excitement. And the green flag is out. The number 14 gets off to a good restart. Cottle right there on the outside still. He's going to threaten him going into 1.
Cottle around the outside. I think if you have the momentum, and I'll tell you what, if you have the skill, I think you can make it work. Gavin said he got tight. I think he just got a little nervous about hitting Josh. He wasn't anywhere near him. Josh made that look really good, and now he's just going to be able to set sail here.
Josh Cottle putting some distance between himself and Gavin Fitzgerald. William Barbagelata threatening to take over that second spot. But look at Hunter Brittle in the number 10, the Air Force machine. He's trying to make a move and take over that spot.
He got really low, got onto what is actually the apron here at Bristol. It's hard to tell. There's no white line here like there is in real life to be able to tell exactly where that apron starts, but you'll be able to see it when you're in the car, and it looked like he bottomed out a little bit there. Nanny starting to make up some ground in that fifth spot now as well, and see if he can go after these guys. Really, the only guys that have changed spots are Gavin and Josh. Everyone else is running exactly where they started, so we'll see how close they all get to each other and if anyone can actually make passes here. Hunter seems to be the only guy that has the speed over the guy in front of him. Everyone else is just kind of sitting here, letting it go through.
Brittle making a move on Barbagelata. He really sends it into 3. And they're going to battle it down the front stretch. Once again, Brittle's right there, right underneath the 27. But Barbagelata trying to get the run off the corner, and there's contact. And they keep it straight. Nanny watching him. Might be 3 wide coming out of 4.
Yeah, we're going to have to get used to seeing some contact. Brittle really making that inside line work. You can see the run that Barb gets on the outside. He's going to block off Nanny a little bit, dive it back to the inside, but he's not close enough to Brittle. Nanny to the outside now, looking like he can maybe get to Barb. Brittle slides up the track. They're all on top of each other now.
And 3 wide going into 3. Nanny backs out, thinks better of it. Barbagelata slides up the racetrack. And they're both going to get past him on the high side, it's looking like. Nanny's way up high going into 1.
Barb looked really confident when he was running that middle lane, and then he had to go to the bottom, and he looks like he just can't really run the bottom like he wants to. Brittle's making everything work. Nanny with about a self-spin. He saves it, keeps it going, but that'll end that battle between him and Barb. Barb can breathe easy. Brittle's got sights set on Gavin for this last lap.
Gavin has quite a bit of damage to that right side, wondering if he might have hit the wall. A lot of damage to that 14 machine. Brittle's right there, trying to get by him, coming to the checkered flag here in heat number 4. And he won't get there. Fitzgerald with the second spot. Brittle, Barbagelata coming home 4th. Nanny 5th.
All eyes on Josh Cottle, who ended up winning that, though. I think the little bit of a shock is the fact that all of our winners were able to pull massive gaps on the rest of the guys. So this may be about a 4 or 5 car battle at the front between Ashton, Sean, Trent, and Josh. Definitely can't count out guys like Hunter and Jake and Breyer, but it was interesting to see those guys drive off in each of their stints. So we'll see how this 100-lapper goes, but this should be quite the show.
100 laps should be very interesting. 36 trucks, Bristol dirt. I expect craziness among craziness. Drivers still heading to their trucks as there's chatter on the radio, pace car's about to begin his pace laps. I'm expecting 2 pace laps here. Ashton Lawson on the pole, Sean Hayes to his outside. That's row number 1.
All right, well, race control said take it easy. We're going to have cautions. So, again, not sure if they're going to be admin thrown or if they're going to let iRacing dictate. We'll see what happens under the first incident. But we do have nearly a full field, 36 trucks here tonight to run Bristol dirt. And boy, do we have some showstoppers all the way up at the front.
Yes, we do. This is going to be an amazing event. Hoping we can definitely get some green flag laps out there. Should be a lot of fun. We saw a lot of clean racing in the heats. I'm expecting some of the same here. One lap till green. Hope it's actually been extended, so actually 2 laps to the green here. Alex, any thoughts on the race that we're about to see?
Well, one of the big notable things about going into this feature event is that the track state is reset, so now the line has moved back to the bottom of the racetrack, and we'll have to rewatch the track condition go back up as this race continues on. So it'll be a long ways away before we start seeing the drivers hook the bottom on a very slick racetrack.
Yeah, you can see there's guys already running the top. I saw Shane way out there. Josh Cottle was way out there. These guys know that that top is going to be what they need, especially starting in that top lane. I mean, where are they going to go with everybody lined up on the bottom as well? So they're already trying to work that in. Sean Hayes up there. They're just driving through to try to at least clear up the marbles, get a little cleaner. You can see Josh and Sean hitting the gas in the middle of the corner, sliding a little bit, trying to make a little bit of a lane there so they can maybe get a run off the corner and try to clear some of these guys down low. But we will absolutely see some good stuff tonight. Hopefully no bent tempers, but no promises on that end. We'll have to see how all these guys do over this next 100 laps.
Pace Chuck's pulling off. Ashton Lawson's going to lead him down to the green flag. Sean Hayes maybe jumped it a little bit there and backed off, and Lawson's going to beat him going into turn 1.
Jake Miller already in the outside wall trying to push Josh Cottle. Jake Miller 3 wide, 4
wide.
Off of turn 2. They're already going after it. They've got places to go, places to be, trucks to pass, and we're seeing it immediately.
4 wide, lap number 1. I've heard of taking it easy and going into turn 1, but never that.
Yeah, Jake Miller said 4 wide in the chat and then immediately did it on track on lap 1. Breyer's dropped back a little bit, trying to maintain over Gavin, and I believe that's Frederick Cremines behind him. Trent Curtis under attack by Jake Miller with Josh Cottle in tow. Sean Hayes and Ashton Lawson able to get away a little bit and have some gas. And we got a yellow.
Wreck going into turn 1. Breyer, Fritz. Couple cars in that. Looks like Lewis Woodall's involved. A lot of chatter on the radio over that one. Looks like Bowen's turned around as well.
Looks like Breyer tried to be clear. Wasn't clear. Hunter was up there, and it put Breyer in the outside wall, and that'll be the ultimately end of his night. Michael Sensi absolutely destroyed him. Blown engine for Breyer. Brandon was in it, and some other guys as well.
Well, drivers, one of the important things to note about this is all the drivers tonight do have at least one fast repair to use for the race. So it's not the end of the race for these guys, but some of them may have to tow, putting them a couple laps down at least.
Yeah, Breyer and Sensi are 2 of those guys that did tow. That's going to hurt them right off the start here. They're going to at least go, I believe it's 2 laps down at this point, maybe more. So not the start that either of those guys wanted. Trying to look here. Yep, Adolfo is 2 laps down. He's disconnected. Brian Mayhew did not start the event. Sensi and Breyer, Fritz are both 1 lap down to start, maybe a second here, depending on how long these tows take at Bristol.
Sensi with such a strong start to the season. Before last week at Homestead, he was the points leader, left Homestead 3rd in points. And now with this incident so early in the race, it's going to be really difficult to come back from this.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to keep ground over Brockman in the points. I don't know that Brockman's even here tonight. Oh, he is running currently 25th, started 25th. So honestly, may still be a decent day for Sensi if Brockman can also have himself a bad night. Obviously, you don't want to wish any ill harm on people, but with Breyer and Sensi both starting up in the top 15 and running up there, getting taken out this early could potentially, I'm not going to say help Brockman at all, but it could be not as bad as one may think with the fact that he does have a fast repair and there's still plenty of more action that could happen tonight. I am kind of shocked that we're going to count caution laps here. That'll make this a little bit shorter than I'm sure we were thinking, but we're already on lap 7 now with these caution laps counting. So no pit stops, I'd assume, tonight. No need for tires or fuel here. It's just 100 laps. So track position is going to be king. And any time of damage repair is going to be pretty bad for anybody who has to use that up. I assume the only reason you'll really pit is for a blown engine or warming up temps. So a lot of these guys already damaged, honestly. I saw Jake Miller catch the wall a couple times. I believe Hunter's pretty hurt from that incident. He got put in the wall. So a lot of these guys are just going to stay out, and we'll probably see a lot of damaged trucks by the end of this one, but they're just going to have to deal with it for these 100 laps.
Elliott, a notable thing about the damage is that because this is a dirt race, damage is not as big of an issue as it typically would be on an asphalt track, as aero isn't really too big of a deal. I mean, I've seen guys win races without a rear end around this track, so don't be surprised if somebody's at the front of the field here with a crunched up piece of aluminum foil.
We're going to take the green flag here. Ashton Lawson leads him down. Sean Hayes is outside. Jake Miller gets off to a great restart. They're going to be 3 wide going into turn 1 for the lead. And Jake Miller takes it. Oh my goodness, what a move.
He did the same thing in the heat, though. He goes way too high, catches almost the outside wall. He's going to be even with Ashton. Sean Hayes to the lead again. And Ashton and Jake makes contact.
Almost a big wreck.
Jake is definitely aggressive tonight. He knows he has a fast piece, and he's not dealing with anybody. They are all over each other for about this 5th spot. 4 wide once again as they come down the backstretch.
4 wide. Madalenas backs off, and there's contact. Looked like a lot of netco between Cremines and then the number 13 of Josh Cottle. Oh my goodness, there's a pile up. Justin Mons involved in the number 39 machine. Looks like Shane Neiswanger might have been involved.
Matthew Durr's on pit road. I believe he went through there just to avoid the wreck. I don't know that he really got... Oh, no. He hit Josh Cottle head on, blew an engine. So he will likely be just trying to coast it and take a quick repair without having to actually take a tow. And he did that. And I don't think he's going to be pace car, though. So he's still going to go a lap down, but it's much better than the 2 or 3 laps down that other people are dealing with for having to tow. So good on Matthew Durr to make that work as quickly as possible. But yeah, absolutely just an issue with Jake Miller in the middle of that. And as soon as they all went back into the corner, it looked like Cottle just got a little bit too sideways and couldn't maintain momentum. And honestly, there was about a car length of netcode between Cottle and I believe Cremines was the one who actually ended up hitting him. And that was what that was.
That was more than a little netcode on that one. That one looked like there was a whole, maybe like 2 yards almost between them. That was a huge netcode between the number 50 and the 13 there. You look again at your replay, look at all that air right there between the 2 vehicles. I'm not sure if Cremines would have gotten him anyway, because Cremines definitely sent it a little bit, and Cottle was definitely a little slow going in.
Frustrating for drivers like Shane Neiswanger, William Barbagelotto, Daniel Nanny, who seemed like they could have avoided that. Shane got on the brake really hard, and it seemed like it was just going to be up at the top of the track, and then Barb just drove into Shane, not really seeing what was going on as quickly as he needed to, and caused a massive stack up on the inside while the wrecking was happening on the outside. Gave drivers really nowhere to go, and just brought a bunch of guys in.
A lot of destroyed race trucks out there after that one. We're going to go green flag racing here soon. That was just craziness. I'm hoping to see some green flag laps here after 2 early cautions here on the Bristol dirt. 100 laps here tonight. Here we're on lap number 14. Sean Hayes is right behind him. And Trent Curtis has a lot of speed right before that caution flag. I was about to say right before we got the accident, but he pulled the most massive slide job on Jake Miller. It was very impressive.
Yeah, Jake's been ultra aggressive on these starts, but it doesn't seem to carry enough momentum all the way around the track for him for the whole lap. Sean Hayes played that pretty patiently, ended up with the lead, and he's still trying to work in. No one's really working on the outside under these cautions. I think they're all kind of set, assuming we're going to have caution after caution. If the inside's probably going to be the way to go. We'll see how this next restart goes. Jake will line up on the bottom for the first time tonight. We'll see if he can maintain that aggressiveness on the bottom. It seems the outside lane, because you're already back on the straightaway and able to go straight, you can get up through the gears a little bit better if you just hold back a little bit and launch a little earlier than a lot of these other guys and try to make it 3 wide like he was doing. Not exactly the best approach that drivers like, because it stacks up the back of the field, but if it gets you where you're going and admins aren't mad about it, then you got to do anything you can to try to get to the front.
Jake Miller definitely showing a lot of speed in that number 4 truck. Interested to see what he does on this next restart as Hayes leads him down to the green flag. Curtis is right behind him. Ashton Lawson didn't seem too ready for that one. Jake Miller didn't seem too ready as well. Fell a little far back from Curtis. He really drove it in there, almost gets into the door of Lawson.
Yeah, Jake's done that every restart. He just takes 1 and 2 a little bit too hard. Washes up the track. He's going to lose a spot to Hunter here. Sean laid back really far that time to get the jump that he needed, and it really worked out. Again, I'm not sure if admins are really watching that, trying to keep them packed up to the pace truck and make sure that they don't really get that huge jump, but that's what gave Sean that nice gap that he now holds over Trent and Ashton.
You watched on your screen right there, Barbagelata was almost able to get clear of Fitzgerald, but wasn't quite able to, and almost contact right in front of him. Jake Miller and Kermeens. Jake Miller pulled a little bit of a slide job off the corner, and Kermeens almost rear-ended him and really reacted and almost spun it on the front stretch. Great save from the number 50 machine.
Absolutely killed Frederick's run. Gave up the spot to Gavin. Gavin now running in that sixth position. Sorry, as Jake runs fifth. The closest battle is really between Mons, Nanny, and Barb as Mons catches the wall. So now it's Mons and Eric Kepf, about 11th position there.
Mons was involved in that first accident, I'm pretty sure. He's been driving the wheels off that machine, just trying to get back up to the front. And here he comes on Mr. Pink on the outside.
Yeah, these guys are really trying to work in that outside lane. It doesn't seem to be working. Eric's going to clear himself right in front of Mons going into the turn 3 there. Mons gave it to him. Didn't really have anything left in the pocket to try to use. Now he's going to come around the outside of Eric, who just really can't get that bottom to run as well as Mons can. Mons will start to attack after Nanny here for that 9th position.
Well, this was going on. Trent Curtis is making moves. Trent Curtis has taken over the 2nd spot from Lawson. And he's setting his sight on Hayes. He's been catching him. Trent Curtis looks quick. They're approaching lap traffic here, so this should get very interesting here. Wondering to see what these lap cars are going to do, as this has been the longest green flag run so far today. Hayes is going to make the move here. He's going to get past Shiflet.
Big battle going on between Kermeens, Gavin Fitzgerald, Barbagelata, and Daniel Nanny. All 4 of them stacked up on top of each other. Nanny looking for any way around Barb. Kermeens cleared Gavin using the outside lane, and then all 3 of these guys are just on top of each other for what's the 7th position.
Some heavy battling going on back there. William Barbagelata, Daniel Nanny, Gavin Fitzgerald really battling it out hard for that spot. Nanny all the way up against the wall. Him and Barbagelata almost make contact right there. They keep it straight. Gavin Fitzgerald trying to put a little distance maybe between these two.
Leaders are 3-4 wide trying to negotiate this traffic. You've got Trent Curtis, Ashton Lawson all trying to get around Matt Daniels and Anderson Bowen. They're all over each other, and they really want to pick their lanes. Bowen's all the way up by the wall trying to give him everything he can. Curtis wants that outside over Ashton. He gets a huge run off of turn 4. He's going to dive it off into turn 1. About hit the wall.
Caution's out. And Mr. Pink, Eric Kepf, he's around in the number 63 machine. Oh, man. And it looked like, I'm not sure, if maybe Ross Brockman, our points leader, might have stayed on the lead lap. That caution was really close to him being lapped right there.
Unfortunately, Duclos got into Eric right at the last second. I believe that forced Eric to tow. I think, unfortunately, these cars are still as paper mache, as we call them, on the regular asphalt tracks on this track. It seems if you get a little bit of front-end damage, those temps are either going to spike or these guys just immediately tow. I mean, that wasn't a hard hit from Duclos to Eric, but it forced Eric to tow for whatever reason instead of drive the car away. So interesting to see that. I didn't, like Alex said, the damage model is a little bit easier on this type of track, but it seems maybe the front end of these trucks are still not the best thing on the service. So we'll have to see if Eric is going to be able to rebound from that. But so far, a lot of these other guys that were wrecked early, like Sensi and Breyer, have gained no positions at all. I don't even believe they've gotten their laps back because, nobody's pitting. There's no chance for them. So Breyer's 4 laps down. Sensi's still 3 laps down. So struggling if you have to tow tonight. So we'll see how these guys bounce back.
Eric Kepf just went up in smoke, it looked like, right there. Not sure if that's him shifting or just these engines with the nose like you were talking about. And he just gets leveled right there. That's the end of the day basically for Eric Kepf, as he's gotten towed. He might be able to get those laps back if we get enough cautions in the right circumstances, but it's gonna be really difficult for him to get back into this race in the number 63 machine.
I mean, the problem is now with drivers not pitting, The only people that are going to get laps back are the wave round, the free pass, the lucky dog, whatever you want to call it at this point. And because they just put so many cars a lap down there, I mean, we've got 22 on the lead lap, and we've got at least 6 that are 1 lap down between 23rd and 29th here. And then 30th, Matt Daniels is 3 laps down, I assume from having to tow, as well as Josh Cottle, Michael Sensi, Eric Kepf now 3 laps down, Briar Fritz 4 laps down. So anybody that has to tow is ultimately putting the nail in their coffin for the night. So it seems if you do get some contact, you're going to want to try to drive that thing away as much as you possibly can, because a tow is absolutely going to put you back at about 30th place or worse.
At that point, you're just battling amongst each other, it looks like. What is it, Alex?
A notable driver who did indeed get the lucky dog last time around was Ross Brockman, our points leader. He had just gone a lap down to the leader and was lucky to have that caution happen when it did, because he just got his lap back because of it.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, I was actually wondering that because it was really close. I was watching Hayes and Ross battle it out, and they were neck and neck right when the caution came out. I wasn't sure who was in front of who, so thanks for the update, Alex. I think we're gonna go green flag racing this time by. It's looking like. It looks like Hayes is deciding which lane he wants in the number 1 machine. Looks like he's gonna decide on the low side, and Trent Curtis is gonna go up high in the number 51 machine.
I believe Barb just ran over Gavin under pacing here while they're just trying to get through turn 2. These guys
Never
all
a
trying
dull
to.
moment. Never a
These
dull
guys,
moment for Mr.
I
Excitement.
think what they're trying to do is test what gear they need to be in, but we'll see if we go green this time by, or not going green this time by. But I believe what they're doing is testing what gear they really need to be in to try to get the best start, because they realize if they can get around each other on that start, it may get them up towards like that top 5 group. And if you can get up towards the top 5, you're clear enough to really be out of the thick of it. You can see Danny sliding as well, trying to see what gear he needs to be in. And these guys are just kind of pushing each other around. They may just be a little bit bored from the cautions, but they had a nice long green flag run there, about 20 laps or so. So we'll see if they can do it again, get us over the halfway point. We're going to go green on lap 33 here of 100.
Yeah, the pace truck's going to pull down pit road this time by. Not Trent Curtis. Sean Hayes is going to lead him down to the green flag. Trent Curtis to his high side. Lawson right behind him. And look at Hunter Madalinas. He's been hanging around that 4th spot all night. Don't count him out in the number 9. And then the number 4 of Jake Miller right there as well, as the green flag is out. Hayes leads him down, and he immediately goes to the high side. A great restart from him.
Barb literally 3 wide on that restart, trying to get underneath Gavin. Not sure what Gavin thinks about that. Jake again slips up off the corner. That's going to take him from about 5th and put him into the clutches of Gavin, Cremines, and Barb here. Gavin will clear him. He's going to try to undercut and get below Gavin. But, man, Jake really needs to try to get through 1 and 2 better if he's going to try to maintain this top 5 spot, because it seems like every time he goes in there, he just full sends and just can't get off the corner. Gavin catches the wall. That'll let him clear him at least. But battle for second between Trent Curtis and Ashton Lawson right now, and Hunter Madalinas.
Yeah, it seems like to me that Miller is just pushing it a little, as he's in the wall, right when I'm talking about him. Jake Miller stuck into the turn 3 and 4 wall. A lot of damage to that right front now. Oh my goodness. And now it's 3 wide, heavy battling around Jake Miller. William Barbagelata.
You can see the speed he has, though, as those guys all make contact. He hits the wall, and he makes a little bit of contact, puts him up in the wall again. But you can see the speed when he gets off the wall, how quickly he can drive back away from these guys.
And there they go, Justin Mons. Oh my goodness. And Mons cannot catch a break. The number 39 machine, you got to feel for him.
Behind him, too.
Oh, and they're piling. There's a car upside down. How did that happen?
I think they all kind of reacted to the fact that there was a wreck. Brockman just got turned off the bumper of, I don't know who that was exactly, but the 62 of, I believe, Nick Hansen. He got turned, and everybody just... It's hard to stop on dirt. It is very, very hard to stop on dirt, and yeah. Brockman, points leader, coming in here is the one that was upside down, and a lot of damage done to that truck, and may not end up being a good night for him after all. That only benefits Sensi. I'm sure Sensi's smiling somewhere.
Actually, Elliott, Ross was not the one that was upside down. He actually completely avoided the wreck. That was actually the 56 of Kevin Watler who was upside down.
Understood. They're very similar trucks, but I believe Kevin Watler is going to be in a lot of trouble now. So Brockman coming out pretty easy. I believe he's still 19th, so still just surviving right now. But that was a really awkward ride for Wattler. He flipped the wrong way, if I'm being honest.
I'm watching Wattler on the camera, and it looks okay, and that's Wattler, folks. That's how it happens. That's physics. Physics class right here. Physics 101.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Feel very bad for Wattler's race ending in that way because it should have never been that damaged. It seems like these netcode incidents carry pretty heavily after they start to happen because the initial contact between him and Hansen seemed like netcode. They contacted a little bit and it pulled Wattler really hard to the left and kind of spun him, and then from there it was just a little bit of an onslaught. But yeah, we've seen a couple netcode incidents already tonight. Not really sure the reasoning behind it, but definitely a race killer for a few of these guys like Josh Cottle, Kevin Wattler, who were running decent. I mean, Cottle won a heat earlier today. Felt like he was going to be one of the faster trucks. Started fourth, and he'll finish this one off back around 30th or so. Still 3 laps down, running 32nd.
I'm just completely baffled about that 56 truck flipping like that. You got to feel for him, because that just didn't make any sense. But it's very, very disappointing to see Wattler out so early in the race. He was running around mid-pack, just trying to keep it clean in the number 56 machine, but it didn't turn out that way for Wattler. Looking to go, I think we're gonna go get the one to go this time by. Hayes has the race lead. Lawson's in second. Trent Curtis is in third.
Two things to mention here. The unfortunate side of being laps down is you're always going to get sent to the rear since nobody's pitting. So you're going to be the one having to avoid those incidents. And that's why we see guys like Josh Cottle, Michael Sensi, Mark Benda having to go around the pace car here, because they're avoiding the incident, but they're having to stop and essentially go a lap down and then get it back with the wave around. They're going to have to maintain that as best as possible to avoid going more and more laps down. That may be the reason Breyer's 4 laps down instead of 3 at this point. But the other thing is how far off Sean Hayes is. He is 15 car lengths away from the pace truck. I'm not sure who's watching that, but that gives him a lot of room to be able to do what he wants. So watch for him to either jump early or jump late and do what he wants here with each of these restarts.
Hayes really taking advantage of that first spot as he takes the green flag. A good jump from the number 1 machine. Right behind him is Ashton Lawson in the number 50 and the number 51 at Trent Curtis, and Hunter in the 24 get together. Fitzgerald into the 51. Madalena's back into Lawson. How does no one wreck there? I don't know.
I think they're starting to get a little bit more aggressive now. They know what their trucks can do. They know they know how fast they are, and they know that they really need the track position, and it's going to be hard to pass except for these restarts. I mean, even like the regular 1.5 mile tracks with the Cup car, these guys are learning very quickly. Learning very quickly that these restarts are everything on how to get positions, and they're going to bully each other out of the way for them. And it's great to watch from our end. I'm sure a lot of drivers are going to leave mad, though, tonight.
Seen Jake Miller and Gavin Fitzgerald been involved in plenty of incidents already. A lot of damage to those 2 machines. And Hunter Madalenas almost saves it in the number, almost spins it in the number 9. A great save from the number 9, and he keeps it going.
Yeah, his run went from bad to worst when that contact happened, and now he's just trying to gain it all back, driving a little bit too hard. We got some contact between, I believe it's Cremines. Cremines and Mons made some contact. Barb up near the outside wall. So we've got multiple lanes here. It just depends how big of a run you can get down the straightaways.
You see some heavy battling between Nanny and Barbagelata. Nanny and Barbagelata getting real close off the corner. They're going to battle it down the front stretch going into 1. Nanny's trying to clear him, might try to pull a slide job mid-corner, and he does. A great move, but the crossover from the number 27.
Man, you gotta love Daniel Nanny. You can love or hate the way he drives, but it is so exciting to watch as he's putting it to one of the other most aggressive guys in this series, Barbagelata. These guys going toe-to-toe here for that 6th spot, and it goes to Nanny for now as he looks to track down Gavin.
And there's a caution out. It looks like we have a blown motor. Looks like it might have been Matt Daniels, yep. The Walmart machine with his great value motor pulls down pit road.
And then Michael Sensi got together.
And Sensi's just been around all the trouble tonight, it seems, the number 92 machine.
Yeah, I believe since he was trying to stay off of him, and Matt ended up. Man, I don't know what it is with what we're getting tonight, but between the netcode and that was the sticky wall situation of, I mean, the engine was probably going to blow with the impact that he was going to have and the angle and everything, but stuck him in the wall and made sure that that engine blew. So iRacing has not been kind to a lot of these guys tonight, but um, definitely, we've definitely seen our share of excitement as we're getting ever so closer to the halfway point, and we'll go green past the halfway point in this race.
A lot of racing still left to go as you watch the incident again on your screen. Looked like it might have been, I wasn't sure who that was that barely slipped by him, and slipped by McDaniels. Might have even gotten through him because of netcode. Not quite sure who that was, but that was a very close call for him. Hayes still retains the lead in the number 1 machine. He's been dominant tonight, but we haven't really gotten too long of a green flag run. And Trent Curtis and Jake Miller were both a little bit quicker than Hayes right before we got that caution flag. We're both running around a 10th quicker. So it'd be interesting to see now that he has Trent Curtis and Jake Miller behind him.
I think Jake really needs to again, get through 1 and 2 solid. If he can get off of turn 2 with a strong run without kind of killing his speed mid-center corner, I think he's got something for these top 2. From there, I think he needs to go green. I think the longer we go green, you'll see guys like Jake Miller get a little bit faster, Ashton Lawson. I'm interested to see what Trent and what Sean can do over a green run. I think they've both proven tonight that they are 2 of the best guys out here. But I definitely can't discount someone like Jake Miller, who's just been ultra aggressive, but incredibly fast. He just seems to really get through that first, literally from the start finish line to turn 1, he's money. Everything after that is just a guessing game of whether it's going to go right for him or not. He's been put in the wall. He's hit the wall. He just needs to try to get through turn 2 as solid as he can on the first lap. And I think if he can maintain that 3rd or 4th spot without making any enemies right here, he can try to get after at least Trent, if not Sean Hayes.
Yeah, Jake Miller can really put this race on its head going into 1 and 2. Like you said, he's really been struggling going into 1 and 2, but he's also, I feel like that's also just because he's been a little bit overly aggressive going into 1 and 2. As you see a wreck under caution, it looks like. The number 36 looked like he was around. Looks like Fritz, and the number 77 is around. I'm not sure what happened back there.
Breyer not having a solid night. He was so excited for this evening's race. Had a lot of speed, talked very highly of himself, and thought that this could be a night where he gets a nice solid top 5, maybe sways the points a little bit, potentially a win, puts himself in the playoff talk. But unfortunately, it all went pretty bad right off the start and has gone worse and worse, it seems, as it's gone on. Looks like Brandon just got on the brakes, turned Breyer straight. These guys all stacked up there as we're going back green.
Let's go green flag racing. Hayes gonna lead him down to the green. Trent Curtis to his outside. You gotta watch that number 4 machine, Jake Miller, see what he does going into 1 and 2. Green flag is out, and Hayes gets off to a great restart.
Jake did not get a good start. Maybe that benefits him. He can now sit here. He has no competition from behind. He gets a solid run off of turn 2. That's what he needed. Ashton's going to get to his back bumper, but again, no competition right now. He can just look out the windshield, focus forward, try to get after Trent. I don't know that it inside is working that well. Here comes Ashton to cross him up, goes to the inside. Ashton has been incredibly fast on these restarts as well, and they make contact, and now Jake again, like I said, just starting to fall into that area of like, how's everybody going to race him at this point? Are they going to race him hard since he's been so aggressive?
He sends it!
He races
it on Lawson, and Fitzgerald spins him around, and there's a big accident behind him. Miller sends it in there. Lawson's not happy on the radio. It looked like some retaliation. And Gavin Fitzgerald is not happy on the radio, and I don't blame him.
Contact is contact, and as long as you're not going to spin someone, I mean, it's going to happen here. Yeah, I mean, you know, what Jake did wasn't exactly the most pleasant thing, but he never turned the 24. He didn't do anything wrong. He just drove into his door and used him up a bit. Gavin, I mean, drove it in there hard as well and just looked to go to the outside, but unfortunately, wrong spot, wrong time, and the 24 and the 14 are going to be the ones on the wrong side of this battle between the 4s.
A lot of discussions going on the radio about this incident. That was definitely a crazy incident. Definitely some hard racing between Miller and Lawson, as Lawson maybe got a little bit into Miller the turn before. Miller looked like he went in there to use up Lawson a little bit there, and Lawson got around.
I'm worried about Frederick Kamines. If we can look at an angle from him there, he made significant front end contact with, I believe it was Lawson's truck as they were sliding. Watch him come through here on the outside. Boom.
Ooh.
Heavy contact in Kamines. I'm not sure if that may really do damage to the radiator or motor, but hoping that he can continue on with what solid night he's had tonight. So we'll have to pay attention to Kamines, see if maybe he pits, see what he does. Look at that. Oh, just really heavy contact. I thought I saw some smoke. Doesn't look like there's any smoke, but that's a hard hit. When the truck is sliding back up towards you, you know, it's essentially one of the worst angles that you can try to have. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't see those temps going up, or if that truck doesn't blow up by the end of the night. But he is, I believe, staying out there right now. I don't see his name actually, so he may have hit pit road.
He did hit pit road. I'm not sure if he used a fast repair, but he looks pretty clean on that 50 machine, so I think he used up that fast repair on that machine. That was a pretty heavy hit he had on the number 50.
Smart choice. It keeps him up in, he's going to line up 15th-ish. So I'll take a 10-spot loss for a perfectly clean truck versus driving out there and maybe blowing up an engine and having a tow and ruining your night. So again, like I mentioned earlier, avoiding the tow situation. Great job by Kamines to realize what was going on there and immediately use up that fast repair, get back out there, run still in the top 15.
And Hayes is kind of messing with the field almost a little bit there. Backed up a lot and then kind of went all the way towards the pace truck. Now the field's trying to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure again if he's testing to see if maybe it can be a first gear start still or second gear. It all depends on the track state. You can see the track is heavily rubbered in, or you know, just compounded at this point. There's not a lot of loose dirt. It's all very slick. So we'll see how it races, but I believe he's still just trying to test what gear he wants to start in. He picks the bottom as usual. Stayed a little bit closer to the pace truck, not very far off him like we've seen in the past. So maybe just trying a different thing to try to confuse Trent, Jake, and Hunter here.
Sean Hay is going to take the inside line. Trent Curtis right up on his outside. Interested to see what Jake Miller and Hunter Madalinas, and look at who's in fifth now. William Barbagelata, and he's right on Miller's bumper on the restart, and he's going to maybe make it 3 wide going into 1, but he thinks better of it and gets into the wall with his overcorrection.
Yeah, track is slicked up, and Barb just learned that right there. He's in the wall again, makes contact with Granger. They may or may not wreck here. I believe they're all going to save it.
And here he goes.
They're trying hard.
He saves it. The number 27 keeps it straight. Jordan Gonzalez almost gets it around there. There's a battle between Jake Miller and Hunter Madalinas for the 3rd spot.
Shane almost gets turned by the 39 of Justin Mons. These guys are all over each other, but contact is warranted here. We understand that it's going to happen. It's fun to see it. It's fun to see the fact that it's not actually destroying a lot of races. It's definitely wreaking havoc on some guys, but it's been fun to watch this for sure.
Some definite heavy racing there in the back. A lot of aggressive drivers trying to get themselves up near the front and try to get themselves in front of the potential accident, unless they might be part of the accident.
Tell you what, we haven't talked about Hunter Brittle and we haven't talked about Steve McLean, but these guys are up here running about 5th and 6th. I mean, Shane Neiswanger and Justin Mons are 2 more that, you know, after these guys have gotten cleaned out between Gavin Fitzgerald and Ashton Lawson and some of those guys, like, it's definitely presented opportunities for these other guys to come up here and really have solid nights. We'll have to see how this all ends up, but a lot of these guys running top 10 were about, you know, 12th to 15th earlier, so they're starting to sneak their way into the picture. There's still 35 laps left in this race, so when another caution comes out, they can gain some more spots. They can really put themselves in a solid position.
Still a lot of laps left, a little over 30 laps to go here at Bristol Dirt. Looking at Frederick Kamines, he's trying to pick his way back through the field in the number 50 machine. He's back up to the 10th spot. I think he restarted in 17th. So he's doing a really good job in that number 50 machine. Right when I say that, commentator Curse gets into the wall a little bit, but he'll continue on as he tries to keep the spot.
Yeah, that's for 10th. Ashton Lawson already trying to show that he is a top 10 competitor after getting on the wrong end of that one wreck between him, Jake Miller, and Gavin Fitzgerald. So already trying to make ground as you've got the leaders catching Justin Benda, Lewis Woodall, some lap traffic here as they come through turn 2 on lap 65 now. Or sorry, 66. 67. I'm sorry. Justin Benda's multiple laps down. I was looking at the wrong number.
Looks like Matthew Durr might have gotten turned around in 1 and 2. He's trying to get the car back straight in the number 41 machine. No caution is out as he is off the racing groove. And we'll continue on. The bad luck continues for the number 41 machine. You hate to see it. Matthew Durr has definitely shown some top 10 speed tonight.
Yeah, frustrating for Matthew Durr, I'm sure, after running top 10 for a good portion of the evening, top 5 at one point. It's all kind of gone downhill, but that's happened for a bunch of these guys tonight, unfortunately. And there's a lot of names that we haven't even mentioned. Back here, you've got, I was just watching a battle between Eric Kepf and Christopher Huerta. They made some significant door contact in, I believe that was turns 3 and 4. Eric's up in the outside wall now. But these guys racing back here super hard. We haven't mentioned too many names, but you know, they're all in the field. They're all driving really hard for it. It's just the fact that some of these guys up front make it look a little bit easier. Brandon sideways off the corner there, saves it, but he's going to lose at least 2 or 3 spots.
There's a wreck right in front of the leader. Almost getting involved was number 1, Sean Hayes. Oh my goodness. I was about to mention this is like right in front of the leader. This might get crazier in a moment, and there it is. Craziness. It looks like Brandon Nefel has spun it around in the number 93 machine.
Wow, Sean Hayes did just enough to avoid that.
Very close call for our race leader, Sean Hayes. We're going to try to get your replay here as it looks like Brandon Nefel on the inside here. Maybe he just got hooked. Not sure who that was on his outside right there. And Hayes just barely slipped by him on the inside. And Trent Curtis almost gets into him, almost hits the wall. We're going to look at the in-car camera of our race leader, Sean Hayes, the number 1 machine, as he ducks down low and barely sneaks by Brandon Nefel right there. Very close call. Couldn't even see him with all the dirt until he was right there.
Yeah, judging by how he drove that corner, I think he saw something like that coming. He looks very smart to be running that that very low inside lane just in case something like that happens. It just goes to show the understanding that Sean Hayes has from this type of racing. He understands that maybe these wrecks, if they happen, are probably going to stay a little bit high, and he just needs to kind of avoid what he can when he can, and may come out of here with a win. He's had the fastest truck all day. Definitely doesn't want to have it ruined by something as unforgiving as a wreck between a couple lap cars.
Definitely a very close call for Hayes, who's just been completely dominant today. So that would have definitely been disappointing to see him involved in something like that. It would have taken out his chances of winning today. Definitely also a close call for the rest of your leaders like Trent Curtis, Jake Miller, and Hunter Madalena. So all of them also barely slipped by. Got twisted up there for a second trying to say all also.
Matthew Durr is officially going to be your free pass car for potentially the next caution. Not for this one. That was given to Curtis Granger. So his little mistake may not have cost him if he can get another quick caution here, get back on the lead lap, potentially gain some spots. Curtis Granger gifted the free pass. There are 21 trucks on the lead lap. Curtis Granger is running 21st.
Still a lot of craziness that could happen. I'm looking at Jake Miller. He could really turn this race upside down. He's been really aggressive on these restarts. Maybe he can make it 3 wide going into turn 1. Something happens. Could be a similar situation as we've had here before in the Great Lakes Series, where multiple of the race leaders, multiple of the drivers that are dominant of the day get taken out, and then the best of the bunch has to pick up the pieces.
I would like to make a slight comment on the current track condition and our leader's choice of lane for this restart. Now, the track has gotten extremely slick, and the only clean zones are right on the apron and the very high side. So what we'll be looking at to see here is if the grip on the high side for Trent Curtis could actually help him against his battle with Sean Hayes, and see if he could try and nab the lead on this restart.
Yeah, I've noticed he runs all the way at the top as we're going to take the green here. You can see him on the restart here, all the way out by the wall as Sean Hayes gets it kicked off.
And it's 3 wide before they even get the green flag. Madalinas and Curtis almost get together right there. Almost big time right there. And Jake Miller once again overdrives the exit. And big time contact. And Hayes is already a straightaway ahead of these guys.
Yeah, Trent just got eaten up there. Brittle in the mix. He gets turned.
Brittle and Lawson, but they keep it going.
Ashton got turned off Brittle's
And there
nose.
it is.
Someone caught the inside pit
Man.
wall.
I may have possibly jinxed that one.
Curtis Granger, who just got the free pass, catches the inside pit wall. I believe that's going to hurt his truck. Ashton got turned by Brittle when they got connected together. Wow.
And Granger basically just got ricocheted into the pit wall.
I was just going to mention the fact that, hey, Ashton Lawson's back up here in about the top 5, top 6 spot. And unfortunately, there's a truck upside down as well right here. Curtis Granger. Not really sure what's going on. I believe he just wanted to end his night realistically. So he caught the pit wall again under caution, and that'll blow his engine, potentially the second one that he's used up since he was already a lap down prior. So we'll see where he ends up. Here
we got a replay here for you from the restart here, and we'll see what happens here. Looks like Curtis just didn't quite go, and Madalinas jumped to the middle here, and that's where the madness ensued. Madalinas backs off a little bit, and they get into it, and then Miller just once again overdrives it on the restart in 1 and 2, and big time contact between him and Curtis. And then the madness just continues down here in 3 and 4. Brittle checks up, and Lawson just had nowhere to go. And then Granger just got the worst of it. Like I said, just kind of got ricocheted into the pit wall, and he didn't seem too happy with Lawson. Didn't really seem like Lawson could have done anything about it, though.
Jake Miller doing his Days of Thunder impression of, I know Cole Trickle, he's going to go high, and Jake Miller always ends up out on the outside lane off of turn 2. So Hunter played that pretty well to be able to maintain the position. I mean, Ashton played it pretty well as well, but I don't know what it is off turn 2 for Jake Miller, but he can't really get the truck rotated. And on the other end, Trent Curtis he's trying to find that grip in the outside lane, but it is not working. I think the benefit of cutting down the track and just getting it, getting the momentum of coming down the track and turning the truck and hitting the throttle outweighs the grip that he may be trying to get from that top lane. So I think he may need to start to find a different route starting in that second spot on the outside lane as Sean Hayes is sitting there trying to clean up the top lane for a few of the drivers back there. As Trent Curtis almost runs in the back of Sean Hayes. You can see these guys just really trying different things under these caution periods, seeing what they can and can't do, trying to clean the track up, trying to do different things. And it's just, sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. We'll really see. But these guys look out of shape just under caution, trying to mess up the trucks. We'll see what they can do under green.
Well, something that our leader has been trying the last few restarts, and they've been discussing over the radio, is he's been trying to see if the outside lane has grip for him to choose that lane for the restart. However, he seemed to have determined each time that it's not really worth it as he chooses the bottom once again for this restart.
I think you go with what's not broken at this point. He's made it work so many times on the bottom. Jake can't get a good start because if he does, he spins tires. Trent can't keep up with him because he doesn't know when he's going to go. I think Sean's in the perfect spot, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake with less than 20 laps left, I mean, he's in the golden opportunity of trying to put this truck into the playoffs right here, right now.
It's really all about timing for drivers like Jake Miller and Trent Curtis. They really got to expect when Hayes is going to hit the gas, and they can't hit the gas too hard or they spin the tires either. As Hayes goes, he's going to get out to around a car length lead over Trent Curtis in the number 51 machine. Madalinas is going to jump to the high side of the 51. Gavin Fitzgerald's up in the wall up there. So is Steve in the number 37, and they keep it straight, but it's 3 wide with Cremines down low. And Cremines is going to send it into 3 and 4, try to clear Fitzgerald, but he won't be able to.
Hunter's truck did not turn in 3 and 4. Jake back up to 3rd place. Shane Neiswanger enters the picture 5th. As I say that, he catches the wall, but he'll keep going. No harm, no foul. These guys running really hard, about 6 down back. Gavin and Frederick side by side. Justin Bonds with Steve McLean and William Barbagelata. all these guys trying to make that outside line work. Some of them are. The guys that can slide the truck enough and make it work. You can see Shane, massive run towards Hunter going into the corner. Hunter throws, the block goes high as well. And it seems to be working as Gavin goes into the corner too hard and they make contact. But man, this outside line's coming in. It just depends how well they can really use it.
And Steve spins it out in the number 37, but he keeps it going and will stay green. And there's more contact. Looks like Fitzgerald has contact with the number 39, Amons. There's a big accident off of turn 3 and 4.
Nanny's
Looks like
truck
there's
is
also
flipped
another
and blown.
accident.
That was Ashton Lawson once again. Nanny came across his nose. Mons got turned as well. Jordan Gonzalez got sent down pit road. Nanny got killed by multiple trucks. I believe it's Anderson Bowen and someone else. Wow.
Right now, these cautions, I feel like, are Sean Hayes' best friend right now. Because once they get a couple laps on those tires and get it back green and get some heat in those tires, Trent Curtis and Jake Miller pick up the pace a little bit, and they're just a little bit quicker than Hayes. So if these cautions continue to come out, I just don't see it. I don't see Curtis or Jake Miller beating him unless Hayes makes a mistake.
Yep, Andrew Duclos on pit road here. Not really sure what the reason is for that, but I believe you're pretty accurate there. I don't really see how Jake Miller or Trent Curtis can really do anything, especially with how the restarts are working right now. Guess we're going to get a replay here.
We're going to look at the replay. We're looking at the number 63 of Eric Kep in that pink machine. Steve real slow on the inside in the 37 already. You see right there. You see him just driving through the dirt. He can't see much in the number 63 machine. And he's just trying to avoid it, and he's just unable to as he just spins out. And Nanny was more of like a pinball in there, just getting hit by every truck that went by almost.
Yeah, it's that situation where you really just wish Nanny would have stayed low and kept it out of the way like Ashton did, and instead the truck overcorrected, went around. It's not hard to do here on dirt, but man, sometimes you just kind of wish these guys would keep the truck turned left, keep on going, and just kind of bite the bullet at that point. But he was the one that actually made the initial contact with Steve McLean, and then went into turn 3, got really sideways, and ended up ruining, looks like, a few nights, including his own here. So unfortunate end to a lot of these guys, or at least a unfortunate circumstance, putting them all multiple laps down. But Nanny will likely soldier on with a quick repair, and we go back up to the front here to see what Sean Hayes chooses on this restart. Well, maybe not yet. Doesn't look like they've let the wave around cars go yet.
Yeah, I think we got the 2 to go this time by. I would definitely keep an eye on Trent Curtis, though. If he can time the restart perfectly, he can have a shot at Hayes. He can maybe be on his outside going into 1, and that is the goal for the 51 machine. If he can be on his outside going into 1, he has a shot.
Well, some stuff I'd like to talk quickly about this track that could be assisting a lot of these wrecks is currently we're in an extremely slick track condition, and there's essentially nowhere left on the track where there's good amounts of grip and good amounts of banking. Problem right now is that these trucks are very tight. You run the high side and you get it into the wall, you hit that tail end, it's going to push the front end in the wall, guys will run into you. You run the low side and hit the apron, you're going to push up into other guys. So that's how a lot of these wrecks are happening, are people either hitting the wall or hitting the apron.
Thank you, Alex, for the information on dirt tracks. Because me personally, I don't have the most knowledge of dirt track racing, unfortunately. But we're about to go green flag racing here with a few laps to go. And Hayes gets off to a great restart. And it looked like Trent Curtis was not ready at all. And Madalinas gets off to a fantastic restart. And he's going to try to jump into the second spot. And it looks like he might be able to clear Curtis off turn 2, and he will. And
No
Curtis is
disrespect.
involved.
No disrespect to Jake Miller, but I'm starting to wonder if maybe 4th just isn't where you want to be on these restarts. I mean,
A lot of
hard turn!
contact. And Curtis turns him, and Madalina's going to go straight down pit road. And that
And
will not
here we
bring out
go
a
again.
caution. And there is a caution, actually. Nope, there's a big pileup behind him. There goes the neighborhood.
And that is essentially the whole field. Shea
Miller
Nicewander
is
in there,
involved.
Jake
Oh.
Miller. What I was trying to say was I believe 4th position is just the best spot to really get the run, but it just goes to It goes to show how hard it is to manage that after you get it. These guys are driving into the corners so hard because they're trying to clear each other that, Hunter just got enough sideways through the corner that's what led to this melee down the backstretch here, and that's gonna I don't know if it'll put an end to Jake Miller's night, but it definitely puts a damper on what was a solid effort for a lot of these guys like Jake Miller, Shane Nicewanger, and Hunter Madalinas. Who that does throw back into the mix, though, is Gavin Fitzgerald back up to third. He has survived all of this. Hunter Brittle up to fifth. Barb back up to fourth. Ashton Lawson back up to seventh after, I believe he was part of the last two cautions. And Trent Curtis has, in fact, hit pit road. So I'm starting to lose a little bit of understanding as to maybe these guys do need to pit. Maybe they're just taking faster pairs, but Trent Curtis has hit pit road from what I believe was a second or third spot. He's going to use a faster pair, but there's only about 5 laps left, so I'm not really sure the reasoning for it.
Kermeen's definitely the one that's you have to be happy to see up here. Kermeen's was up here in the front earlier, had a lot of damage to that 50 machine, used up his faster pair and has slowly been moving his way through the field and was able to barely get through that accident in the number 50 machine. And now he has a shot at the victory here. He has a chance to maybe steal this victory away from Hayes. And Gavin Fitzgerald right there in the third spot. He was up in the front earlier as well. And Barba Gelada, he's been running around 6th or 7th all day. And now he's up here in the 4th spot. And you know he's going to get a little bit aggressive here on possibly the last restart here at Bristol.
Yeah, it's going to be about a 2 or 3 lap shootout, it looks like. And, I mean, we've seen aggression, but I don't think we've seen anything like a 2 or 3 lap shootout at Bristol. So, kudos to Sean Hayes for what he's done, but man, it may all come crashing down if these guys just want to drive into the corner a little bit harder than what they've been doing all night. Let's see if he can hang on. He's still testing that outside lane. I think he's just trying to make sure that he does everything in his power that he can to win this race tonight, and he's testing every avenue. But I think as long as he gets another solid start, I just really don't think there's much that these guys can do. As long as he doesn't put a wheel wrong, doesn't slide the corner too much, I really think that this is his race to lose. And we'll just have to see if Kermeens and Gavin and Barb and all these guys can not wreck each other here over the next couple laps and try to finish this one off strong. Going green on lap 98 out of 100. I can't tell if Pace Truck's lights are off. I believe they are.
Next time by.
We're going to go green flag racing next time by. We're going to have basically an unofficial green-white checkered as we're going to get green flag racing with 2 laps to go here on Bristol dirt. I expect things to get really crazy here. I'm really going to watch that number 14 of Gavin Fitzgerald. He might really push the envelope here to try to get that victory. Hunter Brittle has looked like he's had a lot of speed of the number 10 truck. I wouldn't count him out as well. And look at Ashton Lawson back there in the 24 car in 6th. Watch him. He's had a lot of speed tonight, and he's had a lot of aggression as well.
How about guys we haven't talked about? Brandon Barkowski, Christopher Huerta, both there on the inside lane. That's, 7th and 9th? Solid efforts for them to come up here into the top 10 after we haven't mentioned their name all night. We'll see how Sean Hayes attacks this restart.
And here comes the green flag. Sounds like also Shane Nicewanger might have blown up his engine right before we got racing here. Unfortunate for him, but Hayes will lead him down to the green flag. Kermeen's right behind him. Kermeen's really drove it in there trying to get to Hayes, but he won't be able to. Fitzgerald's right behind him in 3rd, and Lawson and Barbagelata are battling out for the 4th spot as things get crazy in the back.
You have to give Ashton a lot of credit to come back up here and get to 3rd. I don't know that we'll have a caution here. We're going to finish this one out. Ashton has solidified 3rd. Kermeen's in 2nd. Hayes just needs to put together one more solid lap, and he can call this one done. Barb and Gavin are going to battle really hard for that 4th spot.
And here comes Hayes off turn 4, the number 1. Sean Hayes has been dominant tonight, and he wins here on the Bristol dirt. And Frederick Kermeens comes home 2nd, and Ashton Lawson 3rd, and Fitzgerald comes home 4th. Good battle there for the 4th spot coming to the line between Fitzgerald and Barbagelata. Barkowski not too far behind.
Genuinely solid effort from a lot of these guys, but I really just want to point out the resilience of drivers like Ashton Lawson and Brandon Barkowski, and these guys that either ran up front and got taken out or ran at the back essentially all night just to come all the way back up and finish up at the front. A lot of painful nights for some guys like Trent Curtis, who, ran top three all night just to get killed. Jake Miller, who ran top 3 or 5 all night just to get killed. Shane Neiswanger, Briar Fritz, um, Curtis Granger, Daniel Nanny. A lot of these guys had really strong runs and just didn't have the luck to be able to put it together and got caught up in some stuff. But man, that was definitely something to to come over and watch. And shout out to Sean Hayes for just being able to put that one together.
Yeah, what a job by Hayes and the number one machine, able to get it done. What a performance here on the dirt from Hayes. I think he led 90 plus laps here tonight. So a fantastic race from him in that windshield deep machine. And we're going to try to get you some interviews here in a few moments with our interview extraordinaire, Alex. Alex, how you doing down there?
I'm doing pretty all right. I had a good fun time watching this race in my head, thinking of all the dirt stuff that I know and going, these guys have no idea. I was having a great time. I'm looking for Sean in the Discord as well to try and hopefully find him for an interview. However, it doesn't seem to be that he is here. So I'll look to try and find him soon, but hopefully we'll get some of our other drivers here in a minute.
Try to give you a top 10 rundown while we wait. On our winner today was Sean Hayes, the number one machine, who put on a dominating performance. A great comeback for second place, Frederick Kamines. Another great comeback from Lawson and Fitzgerald. Ashton Lawson in fourth, Gavin Fitzgerald in fifth. Ashton Lawson in third, Gavin Fitzgerald in fourth, William Barbagelata getting fifth, Brandon Barkuski in sixth, Trent Curtis and Jake Miller falling back to seventh and eighth, Hunter Brittle in ninth, and Justin Mons able to come back for a 10th place finish. Great day here today in Bristol. I think we have some drivers maybe ready for those interviews, Alex.
All right, let's start off with our third place finisher here, Ashton Lawson. Hello, Ashton. How you doing?
Hello, how you doing?
Well, you had quite an interesting race, got involved in a couple incidents, and yet still came away with a third place finish.
Yeah, back to the front, to the front, to the back, to the middle, to the front, everywhere. It's fun.
Yeah, what was it like going through the melee? As you were at the front of the field for a lot of this, and you had to battle a metric ton with these guys at the front, only to go to the back and then have to get through the hornet's nest that was the field.
I figured out about with 30 laps to go how to get around the bottom again, so that helped out. Having to line myself, basically coming through the melee. That was the pack.
Now, I got a little bit of a question about the racetrack. How was that like tonight, having to move around the lanes and try and figure out where your truck was good and at the same time avoid everybody trying to take their own lane?
Honestly, wasn't very fun.
I mean, this race was advertised as the best or worst race, so I guess from your perspective, you would call it the worst race?
I mean, track felt really shit at the end. Compared to what it started on, where you could rip the bottom pretty easily, then at the end it wasn't very good at all.
Yeah, it was definitely an issue, seemed to be for a lot of drivers, as the wreck seemed to ramp up in the last 30 laps or so. But you managed, you survived, even got wrecked a couple times, and still managed to do it. So, is there anybody you gotta thank for this?
I'm gonna thank RJ Williams, my team owner, for always being there when we ask questions. And then I gotta thank the admin, Sam Hoff, and Chris tonight, and Eric.
So we gotta appreciate the admins for this race tonight, keeping on top of the cautions for the most part and doing a great job at keeping the race as civil as they can.
That's for sure.
All right, thank you, Ashton, for talking to us, and a good finish.
Thank you.
All right, let's drag in our second place finisher here, Frederick Ramines. Oh, there we go. Hello, Frederick.
Hey, how you doing?
Very surprising second place finish. I mean, you avoided the wreck right at the end of the race and pulled away with second place. Nice. How'd you do it?
I don't know, man. I knew I was gonna at least get top 10 during the race. I didn't expect any of that at the ending. I know I got lucky. Near the end there, in the middle, I was in the back. I think I got wrecked by Ashton and I had to get my faster pair, but made it back to the top 5 at the end. Wreck, Hunter was in it, and then suddenly I was in the top 2. So it was wild.
Yeah, I definitely was not prepared to see you there at the end of the race. I mean, for most of it, you were in the mid pack, and I gotta ask you, how was the damage affecting your truck? Because obviously, you had to have gotten in quite a few incidents tonight.
Well, I don't think it affected me that much. I was in one where net coated with Josh Cowdell. I'm sure you saw that, and it probably gave me a little bit of engine damage, but overall, not much. I was able to run top 5 after that. So, uh, yeah, I was just fast the entire thing, honestly.
Hey, well, you managed to stay out of the way of the guys when they're wrecking and basically keep yourself in it for the whole event. And guess what? You came away with a second place finish. So you got to thank anybody for that.
Yes, of course, entire team of Defiance, best team in the league, of course. Very supportive, very good, and got to thank my mother for giving me the chance to live in life, of course. Broadcast crew, you guys, I watch these streams every single night, and I think they're amazing every single time. So great job, and league admins for putting up with us in chat every day and our terrible racing sometimes, and everybody in Great Lakes as a whole for giving me this chance to have some great racing.
Man, there was appreciation all around from that one. Thank you,
Yeah.
Frederick.
Yeah. So,
We appreciate talking to you, but we're going to have to get our race winner here. So thank you.
of course. See ya.
All right. And then finally, our winner, Sean Hayes. Hello, Sean Hayes, dominant driver of the night and pulls away with the win, seemingly uncontested. How was it?
It was pretty good. The setup was alright. It was really good on the bottom. I expected it to go to the top at the end of it.
And we noticed you were easily the best driver there, hooking the bottom line and running some amazing lap time, especially when it got slick. At one point, you pulled out almost a 3 second gap over second place. I mean, how'd you do it?
It was all on the right foot.
Not not giving away too many secrets there, just a simple right foot. All right. Well, I honestly don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, you just did a fantastic job the whole night. I mean, uncontested. You didn't really get in any wrecks. Um, there was one wreck, however, when you were coming up on some lap cars. A car bounced off the wall, and you got around it. We were all like, "Whoa, what was that like?"
It was pretty scary getting through them lap cars, especially with how dusty it was. We couldn't see much.
Something else I would like to bring up as well is throughout the race, you were testing the high line, going up to every restart. Didn't end up ever taking that line for the restart. What was the thought process behind that?
I just didn't want to risk it with how big of a gap I was putting on down on the bottom. I could see them running the top. Just was still pulling away from them. Didn't want to risk it and fall back a few positions.
That was good stuff. And then especially early on in the race, Ashton Lawson led a few laps, but you didn't take you very long to take the lead away from him. And I mean, that was really the only time you were behind anybody for the whole race. So how did you get around him? What was the plan there?
I don't know, he slipped up and gave me the line to get under him. I guess I really don't remember, to be honest. The race took for so long. It's all the caution.
It must be easy being the guy up front and staying out of everything, right? Of course. All right. Well, we got to ask you the all important question. Who do you have to thank for this?
I gotta thank Windshield Deep and short tracks only. RJ for hooking me up to be part-time on Spectrum in the trucks side of it. And Academy, TA Academy, super late model sets for official SKs and Legends cars as well. And Rocket's Irish wraps for the Neon Miami Vice wrap.
got some various official sponsors coming in with this one. All right, thank you, Sean Hayes. Congratulations on that performance. That was a very strong one indeed.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to send him out of here, and we're going to be closing out the broadcast tonight. It was some fantastic stuff. I mean, oh man, there was so much to talk about tonight. I didn't even get a chance to put my breath in because those two had to talk about all the wrecks happening tonight. What about it?
It was just complete insanity here on the dirt. We definitely had some good racing out there. We definitely got some green flag racing, but Hayes was out there just sipping on his tea like Jean Girard, just pulled away from the field, not a care in the world. He had a fantastic night in that number one machine. Number one was number one almost all night. Elliot, what you think?
I think we definitely saw some good racing. I know a lot of us are a little frustrated with the amount of cautions that we saw, but man, that was definitely something. I think we got to see a lot more racing than we anticipated. We got to see some door wagging. I'm sure we've got some tempers going into Kansas next week, where it's also going to be really hard to kind of pass with a draft package of the trucks. So I think we've set ourselves up for a pretty fun race to the playoffs here. We're almost halfway through that run too. 5 races, closing in on the halfway mark of the 22 race season and the run to the playoffs here. So I think this was a well placed race by Samuel Hoff and Eric Kep, and we'll see how these tempers continue to mull over moving forward, and if anybody still has some ill words to say at Kansas.
Yeah, definitely some craziness tonight, but put those mud flaps away and pull out the barbecue because we go into Kansas for both the Cup Series and the Truck Series Thursday night. The Great Lakes Cup Series hits Kansas for 125 laps. And then next Tuesday, the Great Lakes Truck Series presented by Patty Engineering will be at Kansas Speedway for 125 laps as well. Same place, same time. It was a fantastic race here tonight. Any last thoughts, gentlemen?
I believe Alex unfortunately ran into PC issues, so nothing from me. Just gonna go enjoy this evening knowing that I don't have any frustrations, even though I probably would if I have run. So definitely looking forward to what these guys put on next week. I mean, this series has been fun to broadcast every week, so looking forward to what Kansas presents after racing their last season and knowing how A, difficult it's going to be to pass, but B, how racy that track really is. A truck is really fun to push around there, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys manage that and if they end up causing more wrecks, or if we get to see some really hot racing between some of the lead guys.
Kansas, always a lot of fun, being a multi-groove racetrack and a track that always seems to bring strategy in the mix, whether it comes to tires or comes to fuel. So Kansas next week should be a lot of fun. So tune in next Tuesday for Kansas for the Great Lakes Truck Series, and then also tune in Thursday for the Great Lakes Cup Series, which will also be at Kansas. And good night, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you either Thursday or Tuesday for Great Lakes action. Good night.